Alright, I thought I'd take the time to go ahead and introduce my audience. This is Morgan Chapman, my fiance, her mother, Mrs. Chapman, and her sister, Maddie.
Hi.
And they're going to be my audience for today.
It has been said that one cannot think well, love well, or sleep well if one has not dined well. The best way to ensure that you've dined well, of course, is to finish with dessert. I've been cooking my entire life. I grew up in my grandmother's kitchen where I learned almost everything from all of the preparation work to the cleaning of every dish. Some of our most vivid memories come from experiences with food, birthdays, holidays, family meals. Today I want to try and rekindle some of those near and dear memories with an all-time favorite, chocolate chip cookies. The first thing we're going to do is make sure we have all of our ingredients together. Our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients, our bowls, our mixer, and our cookie sheet.
For this particular assignment, you will need 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup or 1 stick of unsalted butter, softened to room temperature, 1/2 cup of shortening. In addition, you'll need 1 cup of packed brown sugar, as well as 1/2 cup granulated sugar.
After you've gathered all of your ingredients, the next step is mixing and combining all the ingredients in the proper order and placing them in the oven.
The first thing you'll want to do is preheat your oven here to 375 degrees. Then, in 1 large mixing bowl, you'll take your flour, your baking soda, and your salt, and you're going to mix them with a whisk. You want to make sure that all of the salt and baking soda is combined completely. See? Next, we're going to take our 1/2 cup of butter and our 1/2 cup of Crisco, and we're just going to mix them smooth and creamy whenever we're done. Now we'll take the butter and shortening that we just mixed together, as well as our 2 sugars. We're going to combine them into the bowl. With an electric hand mixer, or a table mixer if you have one, you just gently mix up, combining the ingredients over low speed. Once we've finished mixing all of the sugar, butter, and shortening, we're going to take to it 2 eggs. We'll beat these in once again until they are uniform and smooth. Always make sure and wash your hands after handling raw materials like eggs and meat. Now we mix the eggs. Blended well into the sugar and into the shortening and butter, because if they're not blended properly, you'll end up with chocolate chip cookies and scrambled eggs. I'll add to it 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract. And you can either measure it out, or like me, you can just kind of guesstimate. Once again, mix completely. After this, we're going to take our dry ingredients that we mixed earlier. That's our flour, our salt, and our baking soda. Slowly, we're going to add some of our dry ingredient to the wet ingredient and begin blending it in. You do about 1/3 or 1/2 at a time, whatever your preference. And the last of our dry mix. Okay. Alright. And once we've mixed all that together, take yourself just a regular kitchen spoon. Now we're going to add the chocolate chips. I have here 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate pieces. 1 are minis. I think they'll mix quite well. The other cup are a little bit bigger, a little bit more coarse, it will still melt down just the same. Now, taking our spoon, once again, we're just going to fold these in until they're thoroughly mixed. Make sure all the dough gets a little bit of chocolate in it. Okay. Now, if you like pecans or cashews or any kind of nut, you can add them now. We've got a half cup. I've got pecans and walnuts that I'm going to add to my mixture. And these are optional. And just like with the chocolate chips, we're going to fold those in so that every bite of cookie gets a little chocolate and a little pecan. The last thing we'll need is one large ungreased cookie sheet. Now, the reason you don't want to grease your cookie sheet is because there's already enough butter and shortening in here that the cookies aren't going to stick. Using our kitchen spoon that we've been working with, we're just going to get a very small amount of cookie dough, and we're going to form it into a small ball with our hands and place it right onto the tray. And we'll do this for a couple of different batches. We've probably got more than a dozen here anyways. Alright. Now that we're finishing up here, if you remember, we have our oven preheated at 375 degrees. Once we get all these guys placed with enough room to breathe, I'm going to put them right into the oven for 10 to 12 minutes. After that time, they should come out just a little brown around the edges. And now that we have our cookie dough formed into balls and on our ungreased cookie sheet, we're going to put them right here into the oven. And they're going to bake, once again, at 375 for about 10 to 12 minutes. Alright. These look really good. Now, after you've gotten your cookies out of the oven, you want to set them aside to cool. You can either put them on a cooling rack or just let them hang out for a minute and then move them to a wire rack. And now all that's left is to enjoy.
Just to recap, we gathered all of our ingredients, combined them in the correct order, got them in and out of the oven. When you're in the kitchen and you want to relive some of those favorite childhood memories, just grab your family, your kids, and some ingredients from the pantry and make some delicious homemade cookies.